whether it's emotional or physical, medical alert. But there are a lot of different categories of, service dogs, support dogs, therapy dogs. Just give us a brief rundown on what the differences are and the training differences with these animals.
Absolutely. Companion animals are just pets at home. They're nothing more. Emotional support animals, all dogs give emotional support. Therapy dogs are different because they are the ones that are certified to go into hospitals and nursing homes, bring some sunshine, but they're not trained to do any specific tasks, and at the end of the day, they go home with their family again. None of those categories of dogs have any federal protection, which means they do not have any public access rights. Only a service animal, which is described as a dog, and in a rare instance where appropriate, a miniature horse. Only those animals have the protection of federal and state law to be in public. Because if you'll think of it in these terms, a service dog is really like a piece of medical equipment. It just happens to have a heartbeat. Right. So anywhere you can go with your wheelchair, your prosthetic limb, your cane, you can go with a service animal. But in return and in protection to the public and the merchants, it must behave appropriately. It can never cause a public safety risk. It can never be obnoxious. It can never be tearing up or damaging merchandise in a store or restaurant or what have you. In fact, when they're not actually performing a task, we expect them to be as invisible as they can be. And there's a lot of confusion because there are so many names for different things. And when you get into the law, it's even more confusing because you have federal law, you have state law, which cannot supersede federal law, but it can support it. But then you have executive branches of the government that do not have to follow their own federal law. So then the VA does their own thing, the FFA does their own thing, HUD does their own thing. So it becomes a very, very confusing gray area for people.
You just described our government really well.
Now, we have taken it upon ourselves to become experts, and we have actually been very proactive in helping to change the laws in several states in the United States. We are considered an expert consultant, and we're called on frequently for those kinds of questions because we do know it inside and out. Unfortunately, John Q. Public does not. They see that you can buy a vest online or a fake doctor's letter, and so they're, I can take Fifi on the airplane for free. Well, you know what? Not only are you doing an injustice to your dog that has never been socialized with all the things that's going to happen to it in public, but you are so disrespecting the people who really need a service dog. I think the best response I ever had was from one of my recipients. A girl went up to him and said, oh my gosh, I would love to have a dog like that. I so want to have a service dog too, so I can take it everywhere. And he says, ma'am, he said, I absolutely hate the fact that I have to have a service dog because of my disabilities, but I wouldn't take all the money in the world for this dog. That sums it up. So people who think they're getting a free ride, let me tell you, one of the things that we have done very proactively in the states that we've been involved in upgrading the laws, it is actually illegal to take an imposter dog or for a doctor to write a letter that they know this is not truly an emotional support dog. You are looking at 2 months in jail, $500 fine, and 30 hours of community service or any combination thereof that the judge deems appropriate if you are caught with doing an imposter situation.
It's quite interesting because obviously being in the veterinary world, and I actually travel a lot as well, but I have a lot of clients who have, the air quote emotional support dog, whatever they want to call them. And I've got clients with dogs that are skittish, fearful, will snap. And, I look at these dogs and I think there is no way in heck that I would take this dog in a crowded public area and think that this dog would function as any kind of a support or service dog. And it's very frustrating for me. But you're right, it is so easy. So I wanted to write a blog, so I thought, well, I'm going to, just do a little work here to see what it takes to get a vest for one of my dogs. So I went online to one of those, therapy dog group things, and I mean, literally, I paid $40. I got a vest. I got an ID card that I can stick in his little pocket. And their doctor wrote me a letter saying that I needed an emotional support dog. And I think the letter cost me an extra $50 or something. And I thought, wow, first of all, I don't know whether it's a real doctor or not, but I cannot imagine. Well, yeah, I can imagine. But how low are we sinking that, we're willing to just sit there and write bogus letters for $50 a pop, and that's, how we're going to make our living. It's just, yeah. It's awful.
It's awful. It is. It's so disrespectful, and, I pray that they never encounter one of those blink-in-the-eye moments that changes their life forever, and they regret what they have done because now they need a real service dog. That's, I would never wish that on anyone, but they should really think about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, so I do have a couple of clients that have emotional support dogs that I think truly are emotional support dogs. And the people need them, but they don't need a service dog at the level of training. They don't need the dog to perform tasks for them. Do you feel that there is a place for those dogs if in the right situations?
Yes, but there is confusion about what rights an emotional support dog has. The only rights an emotional support dog has is to go on an airplane or be in public housing. And with both of those, it requires a doctor's letter on his letterhead written within a year stating that this person needs an emotional support dog. Those are the only two places. They're not allowed in public transit. They're not allowed in restaurants. They're not allowed in malls. They're not allowed anywhere else. They are at home other than if that person needs to live in HUD housing or that person needs to fly someplace. Those are the only two exceptions for an emotional support dog, different than a service dog, which, of course, again, would be allowed anywhere a piece of medical equipment would be allowed.
Okay, so the person is able to get that letter from their doctor saying that they need an emotional support dog, but does anyone have to certify that dog? Does it have to go through, like the therapy dogs, they get certified, that they're okay around walkers and canes and wheelchairs and, they won't bite and that sort of thing. Do these emotional support dogs have to get certified or go through any sort of training?
Sadly not. And you know what? Neither do service dogs. This is horrible, and we are working very hard towards changing those laws. The therapy dog people are doing it right. Their dogs are certified to go into hospitals and nursing homes. No one else is testing these dogs, and that's why you keep hearing these horrible stories about how, somebody got bit on the airplane or this or that, and that should not be happening. And until we change the laws at a federal level, and it has to be done at a federal level, and I have a program sitting in the wings waiting to be tested because I know how we can fix this. But until the federal government decides it's important enough, which they've got lots of bigger things on their plate, right. They're not going to give it the attention that it needs.
Well, I think it'll get more attention when more people get, bitten, growled at, feel uncomfortable on airplanes. And like I said, I've got clients with emotional support dogs that I know that they need, and I feel that the dogs are very appropriate for that job. I've got others that have the emotional support label, and I'm sure that the owner, was able to get the letter, but I look at these dogs and think, oh man, that I wouldn't want to be on an airplane with that dog. That dog is afraid of its own shadow. It's not going to do well in public with a lot of people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
what the first passenger does if the dog's sitting next to you, you stare at the dog. Well, if you understand dog communication, when two dogs stare at each other, that's a challenge. And if one of the dogs doesn't submit and turn away, it escalates. So when you have a passenger sitting there staring at a dog who's already scared to death and in a confined area, something bad is building. And so the airlines actually are starting to take more action to try to prevent some of that, because unfortunately, since they have the big checkbooks, they get sued too, and it wasn't really their fault.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm glad they're cracking down, and I know that this will make a lot of people unhappy who have the kind of quasi real emotional support animals. But I think when it starts getting a little bit crazy, this is my emotional support iguana, and my bird and my cat, and whatever crazy things people are trying to take on airplanes with them. I think it is a little bit out of control, and I think we need to take back a little bit of control over these things. So, Carol, I am so appreciative of the work that you're doing. This has been so educational. This is just amazing. Next time I get down to Florida, I'm going to stop by and see your program in action, because I think that this is amazing work that you're doing. I'm really glad that you found your passion.
We would love to have you, so please feel free anytime. Give us a call, and we'd love to give you a tour and show you who we are and what we do.
That'd be really cool. My listeners and followers would love that. All right, so you've been listening to Dr. Judy Morgan's Naturally Healthy Pets on DreamVision7Radio.com. You can hear us live every Monday and Tuesday at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern. Until next week, give your pets a hug, and remember to feed them well.
That's all for today. Find more answers to your questions next time on Dr. Judy Morgan's Naturally Healthy Pets every Monday and Tuesday at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Time by going to DreamVision7Radio.com. Join holistic veterinarian Dr. Judy to discover healthy options for raising your pets in a more holistic manner. Visit drjudymorgan.com to learn more.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.